attempts to reach an agreement between the 27 European Union member states over the Eurozone debt crisis has failed. David Cameron says he simply had to veto the proposals that were on the table. Talks are now going to continue amongst the 17 countries who use the euro, who won't be taking part in them. Let's cross to Brussels now and talk to West Midlands Euro MEP Nikki Sinclaire. Nikki, morning.
Good morning.
Are you pleased by this, or are you shocked by this?
I'm not pleased because what Cameron has done, he's failed in what he told the British people he was going to do. He said that he could renegotiate powers back from Brussels, regulations that are affecting small businesses, especially that mean jobs, unemployment, etc. And he's failed by not. He put his stance on, and when he rejected the call that I led for a referendum about 5-6 weeks ago, he said that he was going to go there and renegotiate with them, and that he singularly failed to do that. So we've lost our place at the table to negotiate, which is the Conservative position. So what is our government's position now? I mean, what I've constantly called for is a national debate on our membership of the European Union, because this halfway house is not good for us or anybody else. We either need to be part of this or not. I of course would rather that we left the European Union, and I think that's the best. That's the best way to go.
Well, that's why I asked you in a way, Nicky, whether you were pleased, because I know what you're saying. Is it a halfway house, or is it a step in the right direction? Because there'll be Eurosceptics listening to this morning and thinking, great, we're one step closer to being out of this nightmare that we call Europe. So you don't view it like that.
Well, of course, I would want us to leave tomorrow if we could. but my experience of the European Union, I've been working closely now with this subject for about 20-odd years, is every time we look like we've made it. Remember, John Major came back from Maastricht and said, we've got victory. It was almost like a piece in our time moment.
Yeah.
That we've saved Britain's interest. And it never turns out to be the case, does it? And this is another example, because what is happening is the federalisation of the EU, and they will drag us along, kicking and screaming if need be, but dragging us along. Where what we have to say as a country and say, look, where do we want to be? And I know the vast majority of British people want to leave the European Union, but you need a mandate either way. And now's the time. David Cameron said about it's a burning house, our neighbour's house is burning. I would say, look, our own economy is burning, and what we need to do is take stock of where we are, then look at our neighbours. But I believe our interests lie outside the European Union. The argument, it shouldn't be for politicians. This issue is far more important than to be left with politicians. It should be left with the people to discuss the matter, come to a binding decision and move forward from there.
But the problem with that surely is that the issue is so complex, not that people won't understand it, but it's so difficult to distill it down to a referendum, isn't it? To one question or two questions or even three questions.
Didn't we choose the last general election was also all about the economy, and I've seen experts saying they only reckon about 12% of the population understood the economic arguments, but we chose a government on that. We live in a democracy, and I think even if people's crux feeling about the EU, they see the European Union, they see the regulations, they see the problems on a day-to-day basis, they see how much the EU is costing us. So, they're the decisions that the ordinary person will make on, and, the human rights legislation, and everything. So they will be the decisions. And we need to decide whether we want to be part of it. Look, we have the Japanese markets, the Asian markets, which are obviously timeline ahead of us today, and their shares are falling based on the fact is they have no confidence in the European leaders to make a viable decision. Because when they make these economic decisions, they're not made on economic grounds, they're made on political grounds. The euro was a political product, is a political project. They ignored all the convergence criteria, which has caused all these problems, and the Laws made that criticism a week or so ago, and that's the problem. It's that they want this, it's their dream. Look, we all have dreams and things we'd like to do, but then we have the financial realities, don't we?
But as a final point, is this all about our overinflated opinion of ourselves? Because, if you're one of the 17 who's in the Eurozone, and we, Cameron comes across, or whoever it is comes across and starts throwing the weight about, and this is what we'd like, and they say, well, look, you've not even adopted our currency. Why should you have a say? But we've got this overinflated idea of ourselves.
You know why? I'll give you the answer.
Go on.
We're the second largest contributor to the European Union. We're the net. We pay over £45 million a day in. So that's why they need us, and that's why we are a big player.
Nikki, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Nikki Sinclaire MEP joining us on the programme this morning with her thoughts.